I also warned about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and warned about corporate greed and excess and CEO pay and all that. A lot of us saw this train wreck coming.
It was nervousness that we had such a long period of prosperity without a downturn because of the history of our economy. But I don't really know of hardly anybody who, with the exception of a handful, that said, wait a minute, this thing is getting completely out of hand and is overheating. So I'd like to tell you I did anticipate it, but I have to give you straight talk, I did not.
Look, I've said for a long time, America's in trouble. The success will be fairly easy.
I believe that we can win an overwhelming victory in a very short period of time.
I am very certain that this military engagement will not be very difficult.
I do not believe that we would experience much difficulty in bringing about a regime change. There's no doubt in my mind, once these people are gone, that we will be welcomed as liberators. People were led to believe that this would be some kind of a day at the beach, which many of us fully understood from the beginning would be a very, very difficult undertaking.
I knew it was probably going to be long and hard and tough, and those that voted for it and thought that somehow it was going to be some kind of an easy task, then I'm sorry they were mistaken. Maybe they didn't know what they were voting for.
I've been involved in every national security issue for the last 20 years. I am prepared. I am prepared, need no on-the-job training. Al-Qaeda is going back into Iran and receiving training.
You said that the Iranians were training Al-Qaeda.
I'm sorry.
Extremists.
I'm sorry. The Iranians are training extremists, not Al-Qaeda.
President Bush has talked about our staying in Iraq for 50 years.
Maybe 100.
Is that
how long?
is
We've been in South Korea. We've been in Japan for 60 years. We've been in South Korea for 50 years or so. That'd be fine with me,
So
as long as Americans are not being injured or harmed or wounded or killed. Then it's fine with me. I hope it would be fine with you if we maintain a presence in a very volatile part of the world where Al-Qaeda is training, recruiting, and equipping and motivating people every single day.
My friends, I will have an energy policy that we will be talking about, which will eliminate our dependence on oil from the Middle East, that will then prevent us from having ever to send our young men and women into conflict again in the Middle East. The neighborhoods are safe. We walk down the streets with no body armor on.
General Petraeus goes out there almost every day in an unarmed Humvee.
Because I checked with General Petraeus' people overnight, and they said that he never goes out in anything less than an up-armored Humvee.
Well, I'm not saying that they could go without protection.
You mentioned in an interview that General Petraeus sometimes goes into Baghdad in an unarmored Humvee, and that there were neighborhoods that you could walk through without being concerned for your safety.
There is no unarmored Humvees. Obviously, that's the case. I'm trying to make the point over and over and over again that we are making progress.
At what point do you stop doing what you think is right and you start doing what the majority of the American people want?
Well, again, I disagree with what the majority of the American people want. The fact is that I have agreed with President Bush far more than I have disagreed.
Now, you'll hear from my opponent's campaign in every speech, in every interview, every press release that I'm running for President Bush's third term.
And on the transcendent issues, the most important issues of our day, I have been totally in agreement and support of President Bush.
You'll hear every policy of the president is described as the Bush-McCain policy.
So have we had some disagreements on some issues, both particularly domestic issues? Yes.
Why does Senator Obama believe it's so important to repeat that idea over and over again?
But I will argue my conservative record voting with anyone's, and I will also submit that my support for President Bush has been active and very impassioned on issues that are important to the American people.
Because he knows it's very difficult to get Americans to believe something that they know is false.
And I'm particularly talking about the war on terror, the war in Iraq, national security, national defense, support of men and women in the military, physical discipline, a number of other issues. So I strongly disagree with any assertion that I've been more at odds with the President of the United States than I have been in agreement with.
You know, we spent $3 million to study the DNA of bears in Montana. I don't know if that was a criminal issue or a paternal issue, but the fact is that it was $3 million of our taxpayers' money, and it has got to be brought under control.
Governor, this year, requested $3.2 million for researching the genetics of harbor seals, money to study the mating habits of crabs. Isn't that exactly the kind of thing that John McCain is objecting to?
Those requests through our research divisions and our wildlife departments and our universities did come through that system, but wanting it to be in the light of day, not behind closed doors with lobbyists making deals with Congress.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.